Welcome to the Nightly Rant. I'm Mike.
And I'm Torya.
This is the show where we talk about the awful things that have happened in our day, the awesome things that have happened in our day,
and all the things in between.
Thanks for listening, and we truly hope you enjoy. Sometimes the topics of these shows they're on my mind for days and days and days before I even mention them to you. And then sometimes those topics that we cover wind up like getting put on the back burner for a while. But there's every so often we have something happen, or there's just a topic that comes to mind that we both go, okay, let's talk about this.
You had a fun day interacting with people, didn't ya?
Well, I had a fun day getting lectured on etiquette.
You lectured on etiquette?
And interestingly enough,
okie doke,
the person's example actually proved my point.
What was their example?
Essentially, they gave a situation where you're communicating via email to a large group of people all at once, that you don't hit reply all. And I said, yeah, that's true. You don't hit reply all. In fact, you should never hit reply all. It's considered rude, but...
unless you're replying with relevant information to everyone.
But anyone in the thread is allowed to respond to the thread.
Right.
Or they wouldn't have been put out in the open as a regular copy.
Right. Makes sense.
So, how is it any different than being on a forum like Instagram where someone makes a comment and you comment back? You're not allowed to do that?
I've interjected myself into so many conversations on Instagram recently. Mostly harassing the people from 90 Day Fiancé because I think they're idiots, but you know.
But are you getting my point? Like,
yes.
So, etiquette. That's what I got this lecture, there's etiquette. From a person who really has zero etiquette. Like, he's super abrasive and rude.
But he's been abrasive and or rude every single time you've talked to him ever.
Yeah. It kind of presses the buttons the wrong way to where you kind of go, you know what? Need to chill the situation out. And that's why I started thinking about it about 2 weeks ago. Hey. I started thinking about how admins of groups, especially larger groups, you're going to get diverse viewpoints from a larger group. And the larger your group gets, the more diverse the viewpoints get, the more often you have to deal with problems that you didn't have to deal with before. Okay?
Right.
But you can choose to address the problem that has arisen, or you can choose to completely squelch the conversation. Those are your choices.
Right.
Like, those are your sides that you can go to. And I think, personally, that allowing the conversation is better. And so that's why I think they give you that mute feature. Because it's a way of basically saying to someone, look, you need to cool off. You're too pissed off about this.
Yeah, quiet down for a couple of days.
Take a breath. How pissed off I think you are. 1 day, 3 day, 7 day.
Right?
And you assign them a mute for that long. And I think it's brilliant because rather than having to jump into the midst of a situation and make it escalate, which is kind of your natural inclination.
Right.
Rather than do that, you can be like, well, you know what? The whole cause of this is this dude over here is getting butthurt. And he really doesn't have, nobody's purposely making him butthurt. He's just getting butthurt. He's hearing one thing, they're saying one thing, he's hearing another.
That dude lives in a constant state of butthurt.
And so you just silence them for a while. silence them for a while so you have time to, like,
Right.
chill out. Because you know how everything is. When it's the actual day of the event,
Right.
you're wired about it. You're like, I can't believe that happened to me. How dare they? You get all indignant.
Right.
And then the next day you're a little more analytical. By the third day, you're still pissed, but you're sane. And then by about the fourth day, it's in the past. Who cares?
It's just over with.
It's
Yeah,
over.
you calm down.
And so
you're over it.
You chill someone out who's really pissed for a week.
Yep.
They're coming back A-okay. And then
Right.
guess what you didn't have to do?
Ban them.
You didn't have to ban them. So guess what they get to do? Continue to contribute to the group. And guess what that does for your group?
Let's say
It shows them that there's rules that they have to follow, and that if they're rude, you're going to still treat them like an adult.
Yeah.
You're just
I
going to
agree.
temp ban them from somewhere by, you know what? You can still participate by reading everything. Guess what? I have not taken away your right to know what's going on in your community. I have not. But what I have done is given back to your community the right not to have to listen to someone's BS all the time.
Yeah. I agree.
And hell, I'll be honest. I can see times in the past that they could have used that on me. And you know what? It probably would have come out a lot better.
Well, yeah, because there was times where you got into it with the admin of a group, and if they would have just used the mute feature, even just for 24 hours, you would have calmed down, never come back to the conversation, likely.
Because you know how I can be sometimes. If I'm a little bit... If I'm just
Angry?
a little bit upset about something...
Uh-huh.
And you come at me with some ridiculous, like, side thing...
Yeah.
It just makes me angrier.
Yeah.
So, you go into these groups, and, back then I spoke first and thought later. But that's okay. I was evolving into the person that I am today and learning the correct way to communicate to people. And what's interesting is it turns out that it's the very thing I liked doing in the first place. Ask questions.
Yeah, I don't know. You started out and you asked lots of questions and you got good results talking to people, and then something just triggered you down a rage train, and you stopped asking questions as much. Then you went back to it. And now you get better results.
You have moods.
You had a mood for like a year?
No, I wasn't asking questions before that. I was terrible at that. I admit that. And then it clicked for me, and I was like, there's a way to be real and honest about things without being abrasive.
Yes. And maybe some other people need to learn that.
And there's times when it's okay to be sassy to a person, especially when they were just sassy to you.
Right.
I mean,
we've established this.
let's face it. I can hear people out there, two wrongs don't make a right. You know what? You're right. Two wrongs don't make a right. You're absolutely right. And then I hear other people, an adult would just turn the other cheek. That's what an adult would do. You know what? You're right. That's what an adult would do.
Sometimes you just don't want to be an adult.
Perfect. You're not perfect. So you make mistakes and you do things off of instinct.
You mean like somebody when somebody yells at you across the field, "Shut the fuck up, fat ass"?
Yeah, exactly. Like that. And you just react accordingly.
You just kind of lose your shit a little.
You can. And here's the thing about that. Yes, there are people who are, I'm just going to use the word evolved. There are people who are evolved enough that they can handle any situation like that.
Mad props to those people.
And what's interesting is there's people who are so evolved that I've met that they can pick and choose. Well, this time, I'm going to be pissed. Oh, this time I'm going to be Mr. Understanding.
Yeah.
And they can be both. So it's truly an act. I mean, They can't both be how they feel.
Honestly, I don't think those people have a soul.
Well, I wonder about that sometimes. I really do. I wonder about that sometimes.
The demon emerges to join our
That's
podcast.
my sweetheart. She always makes an appearance. The pretty girl. Her and the Yog Dog Dog are always in every episode.
And the Odie Doty Doty.
And so, any of you who are listening and you get annoyed by the ching 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 of the dog collar, you should hear what it sounds like before I reduce it. But number two, it's part of the charm of the show.
That's the Yog Dog Dog putting in his...
We want the Zoo present. I mean, the sister network is called the Zoo Media Network. IamZoo.com. That's the sister network to Yogi's podcast network. So, why wouldn't we want the Zoo present while we're talking to all of you? So we hope you understand that that's part of the charm of the show. And if it bothers you, well, I apologize, but I hope you stick around anyway. But if you can't, we understand. That's just our way of saying this is who we are.
Do we understand, though?
And we like it like this. A little more loose and comfortable.
I am sitting here in my pajamas.
And I think though, like, you haven't said much on what you think about this situation.
That's probably because there isn't a lot for me to say, because I just agree with you. It's one of those weird situations where you and I just agree, and there are no even minor differences of opinion.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you.
Well, obviously.
But I mean, we've talked about before, like, there's things that I admit to you, even at the time, make me way angrier than they should. Or not angrier as in, like, that just makes it sound like rageful, and that's not the case. What I'm talking about is, like, a deeper, like, you're not letting go of this that quickly kind of anger, you know?
Yeah.
And there are things that make it worse. And one of those things is, like, you know, being patronizing or, like, apologizing for things that we all know you didn't do. And by you, I'm talking general you, not specifically you.
I gotcha.
And that's the thing, you know, people do that. They're, oh, I'm so sorry that I, you know, upset you. Did I say did I say I was upset?
No.
Okay, then if I didn't say I was upset,
Then
I
stop assuming
I
I'm
wasn't upset. Because as I tell everybody, you don't have to wonder where you stand with me. I'm going to tell you, I'm upset. I don't like that. I don't like what just happened. I don't like it. Now, hopefully you'll confirm this. That doesn't mean I'm going to walk around being a total asshole after that.
No. You don't walk around being a total asshole after that.
I mean, it is what it is. We get mad. It happens.
Maybe 1% asshole. I'm totally just
But you
kidding.
have to, it's funny though, you have to, like, give people that ability to deal in their way. I agree with that. I do. But, like, don't assign a meaning to what they're saying.
Don't assume you know how somebody else feels about something.
Right.
Don't assume you know what somebody else thinks about something. Don't assume you know what somebody's going to say next, because all of those things make you a douchebag and the other person angry.
Well, it reminds me of the 90 Day Fiancé episode that we watched. And I can never remember the freaking names, but the kind of blonde one with kind of the big hair, and then the muscular-y kind of guy with the scruffy face, and they're both kind of light-haired.
Jesse and the one from Amsterdam?
No, I'm sorry, not 90 Day Fiancé. The married one, First Sight Married.
Oh, yeah, I don't know their names.
I don't know their
think
names.
they're
Anyway,
annoying,
you know who
though.
I'm talking about, right?
The one with the fake blonde hair.
Yeah. And they were talking, and he did not say he had a problem in the relationship. And he has multiple times told her how much he likes her. Multiple times. They've only known each other 7 weeks.
Right.
I'm going to put some perspective on this for you. 7 weeks would have been about the time difference between when we first met and when we actually spoke to each other on the phone. 7 weeks.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's how long. And you're telling me that it's okay for her to be begging him to tell her he loves her? He's not ready for that. So instead, he doesn't say anything because you know what? He knows she wants the I love you, and he doesn't have that yet. But he also is headed there. He doesn't have negative issues. So why would he throw out something fake and go, well, I don't like how you do your hair. What the hell is that? Like, he told the truth, and she's like, see, you're not happy. I'm worried that you're not happy. Guess what?
So
you assigned that belief to him. He didn't do it.
Does he just L her, or LO her, or LOV her, if he doesn't LOVE her yet?
He's close.
So he LOVs
I don't know
her.
him personally.
So he LOVs her,
That's what I think.
I see.
But my point is, he doesn't dislike her or want out of the marriage like she's making it, and she's assigning that belief.
Right.
He didn't say it.
It's a mark of insecure people.
And that's what people do today, especially in social media, where they... And I'm starting to get fed up with social media in general, but...
Starting to?
Social media...
You've been complaining about how mad you are at it for weeks.
Yes, but I'm really starting to get fed up with all social media. That was just Facebook. This is all social media.
I see.
Especially Twitter.
Jesus Christ.
I have determined that some of the dumbest people in the world and the most closed-minded people in the world reside in the Twitterverse.
I would like
they do.
to tell you that I told you so.
I mean, no, you told me Twitter itself was stupid. It's not. It's a great communication medium.
It's full of all of the morons, though.
But there's some really dumb people, and not just dumb, but like, not just dumb as in not knowledgeable, but like willfully ignorant, saying things like, you know, well, I play Monopoly and I know that's not the same meaning as the word monopoly. Well, dude, you just proved my point. Let's face it. You know how people have code words for things?
Yeah.
Well, what if someone's code word for intercourse was ice cream? And then they said, hey, honey, let's go get some ice cream. Well, I just said, let's go have sex, based off of those words. And you'd know what I said, and we'd do whatever we would do. But the point is, what if I really wanted ice cream? But what if I really wanted ice cream? See the difference?
No ice cream for you, jerk.
But you get the point? Like, just because it means this to 99% of the people, if your clique of friends... Because this is what always happens. People say, well, how could that possibly happen? I'm going to tell you how it happens. I'm old and I still remember how things happen in high school. And listening to them, it happens more rapidly because of the phones and stuff, but it happens the same way. You get one person who somehow manages to become like a leader type person. Somehow other kids look up to this person. Okay?
Right.
Then somehow that person completely messes up and misinterprets something that they've heard.
Right.
And so they start advocating for something that's like totally asinine and off the wall stupid.
Yeah.
But because so many people respect that person and believe that person and are followers of that person, they don't question it. They just go along with it.
Yep.
And even, I'm going to tell you, I've had dealings with what I would call a pseudo-Christian cult.
Uh-huh.
And I can only say pseudo-Christian because, hold on. I can only say pseudo-Christian because they are a cult, so they're not really Christian.
I see.
But that's how it works. I mean, we could get into that another day. Not today. It's too long of a topic. But listen to what I'm trying to say to you.
My head hurts way too much for that conversation.
So if I've gotten it into with them where they'll admit that, oh, this book teaches this. Yeah, that's right. It does. You're right. I see that now. So you're not going to teach this anymore, right? No. Very next day, they're at a neighbor's house teaching that exact thing.
Well, yeah, of course.
That's willful ignorance. Okay? You
right.
know what you're saying is wrong, but you're saying it anyway. And we got a lot of people in this world that are willfully ignorant. They say the dumbest things. And I'm sorry. Someone's going to say somewhere along the line, and I'm going to have this here to prove it. Someone's going to say that, oh, he called people stupid. Everyone's stupid. Did you hear how I defined dumb? They made one mistake and misinterpreted something and went off down a path that, what? They believed in. But
it was me who called everyone stupid.
The dumb part about it, what's dumb, is that the people just follow and don't bother to think about it. And even when you prove to them that guy's not who he says he is, they don't care. They keep following because they would rather go with their emotions than their logic.
We just had this conversation on a podcast about that dude.
What dude?
The one that we can't name because we talked about him on the Zoo Media Network instead.
Oh, yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's true. And you know what's interesting? You found the video.
I know.
That's great.
I know. There is the video proof that you were called a troll. Loudly. I'm going to find it, too.
Well, that's the thing. You know what's great about that?
What?
We need to get a copy of that somehow.
It's on YouTube.
You
can rip it from YouTube.
Somehow.
I'm sure.
We need to get a copy of that somehow.
Okay.
But why do you think I think we need to get a copy of it?
I don't know. Why don't you just tell me?
Because people say all the time that my story of him calling me an internet troll never happened.
Ah.
There's not just audio evidence, there's video evidence of it.
Yep.
That's awesome. It's hard to believe the thing was only like an hour, hour and a half long.
It's like an hour and 3 minutes. However, it's missing the first part because when it starts, the dude is there.
Yeah, and he was late.
Yeah. So.
Interesting. But you know what? Like I said to you, the other interesting thing was that during that year, 2 years ago, it was a person also running who was all into the, I'm going to make the city better, and I'm all for the city, and I love this city, and I'll fight to the death for this city. Didn't even run this time.
Right.
That's how serious they were about that. So.
They were embarrassed with their loss.
Yes, I think so. And honestly, those two did way better than I thought they would.
Only because of their position on Measure GG.
Yep. Those two went hand in hand. It's true.
Yep.
But, back to the point here. What's your advice for people to avoid the problems that arise when they assign a stance to somebody? Because, like we said, just to recap real briefly, if you come into a situation and you just go, this person over here speaks the truth, and you go, yeah, that did happen, yep. Oh, you're a blah, blah, blah supporter, aren't you? Oh, blah, blah, blah. Did I say that?
So my advice is, how about you don't?
Okay, but how do you don't?
By not.
So it's literally as simple in your mind as just saying something else.
It's as simple as not assuming everything about a person because of one freaking statement they said, and maybe asking them a freaking question instead of freaking assuming what they freaking think.
I can tell you from experience that asking questions gets you to a much better place, much faster and much more consistently than any other approach.
So that was good advice then.
Yes, because asking questions, it doesn't just slow you down a little bit so that you have to stop and think. Remember we were talking about the cool-off period a little while ago?
Yep.
It's kind of the cool-off period. Because you're asking a question, and then they have to answer the question. So you're not directly addressing the issue yet. You're just setting up the facts.
Right.
Once the facts are set up, everybody can kind of be calmed down and not so, my way is the right way.
Well, and after you've asked them all the questions, they know that you understand their opinion. And maybe they'll calm the shit down and want to know about your opinion instead of just being a loon bag back.
Well, and sometimes what happens is I'll say, well, I happen to agree with you. Guess what? We just avoided the whole, because I said something you didn't expect, you assume that I'm a supporter of Mr. X or Mr. Y. You make these assumptions. And the reality is it's because you're not used to finding people who are willing to, we've been lucky, I feel like, that we've found a group of friends who are a little more free thinking and not so much lemmings to follow everything that goes.
Yeah.
Because I think you can find, let's call them like-minded people. I think you can find like-minded people. And then I think that you can find people who are like you.
Yeah.
You see the difference, right?
Vaguely.
I think that people who are like you, they act more like you, they talk more like you, they think more like you. And I think those are the people that, like, when you're out socializing, that you kind of connect to, because they're more like what you're comfortable with. Because your family, why is your family a comfortable unit?
Who says they are?
Everybody's family is comfortable in some way, shape, or form. Even the worst ones.
Because apparently you're like them.
Well, but there's consistency, right? Like, you can use the same, oh, my mom always made blah, blah, blah on this day. My mom always did this. There's things that we have that our parents always did. And I see it with me, with my kids, that I always do. And what I'm always trying to do is evaluate, well, if what I'm doing positive or negative? Because if it's negative, I want to do less of it. If it's positive, I want to do more of it. But the point is, it creates comfort, family, and that's why people tend to believe and listen to their family way more than anybody else.
Or not listen to their family at all.
Yes.
Because that's the exact same point you're making. They understand the consistency.
Yes. So, I think it's an interesting quandary to put somebody in. And I love your advice. I think that your advice is very good. I mean, it is as simple as just not assuming.
The simple part is remembering. The difficult part is remembering to do it. The simple part is what you do.
Yeah. The execution's easy. It's remembering to execute that's the hard part. I think that's crazy. But, you know what else I think is crazy?
How hot it is in here?
No. What I think is crazy is people who don't know when to shut up.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So, that's usually when I ask them for a banana.
And with that, good night, everyone.
Hasta la bye-bye. Hi, everyone. This is Mike, and I truly hope you enjoyed this show. You're able to subscribe to this show on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher so as to never miss an episode. If, by chance, you did miss an episode here or there, you can catch up on all shows, past and present, by heading over to yogispodcastnetwork.com/TNR show. Thanks for listening.